Good morning, happy Saturday, and Merry Christmas, everyone. Welcome again to another Saturday morning episode of the UltraCast. And I am once again your amazing host, Hunter, aka the Ultra American TTRPGer, or if you see me on Rustic Roller, I am also everyone's favorite Aryan Tiefling. And I am, as always, joined by my wonderful host cast, crazy characters, Roger, Marhockman, and the OSR Dwarf.
Howdy.
And
Merry Christmas.
yes,
Merry
I do
Christmas
have
to
the
you.
avatar because I like playing non-human characters. It's just fun.
Some of us are just born
Nice.
that way.
Yeah. So we kind of talked about this on, if you caught me and OSR Dwarf on the Red Room's musing stream yesterday, we kind of were talking a little bit about this as one of the topics. But we kept getting off topic, so figured I'd bring it up. So, do any of you all plan to run any Christmas games this upcoming week for friends, family, or whoever?
I
Yes,
actually
yours.
do.
Tomorrow I'm going to be running a Christmas one shot. It's a parody of Jingle All the Way set in the Dispatch video game world, and we're using the Fate Accelerated system. So we're using Fudge.
Neat.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's
Okay.
like I like the accelerated, the condensed versions of Fate better because they give you your skills right there to stat out instead of with the core. You have to kind of come up with them all on the fly.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then when I'm going out of town to meet my family for Christmas, there is a actual it's a Christmas role playing game called "'Twas the Role Playing Game Before Christmas," and what you're doing is you're playing as sentient Christmas toys, and you're trying to save Santa from Krampus is the main game. But I'm going to be running a one shot for them where my family is going to get to fight against the Mouse King from the Nutcracker.
Oh, okay.
I think that's a pretty good concept. Mine is a little more simple. It's going to be a mutant future game, basically Gamma World. And I'm going to be putting the players through their paces in their first session where they will be encountering an ancient toy store run by an insane AI that thinks it's Santa Claus.
That sounds interesting. I'm just picturing a decrepit Toys R Us building.
Is that the one we're doing this afternoon?
That is the one we're doing this afternoon.
Okay, then.
Yeah, and there's and I'm just picturing there's what was the giraffe's name? That was their mascot.
Jeffrey?
Yeah, Jeffrey.
Yeah, there's some mutant zombified Jeffrey the giraffe, or a person in the Jeffrey the giraffe costume.
Or go the Five Nights at Freddy's route and have it be an animatronic that's insane.
Or demon possessed, like in Wally World.
Oh yeah. That's actually possibly an even better idea. It's actually just a statue, but it's a statue that's been corrupted by some eldritch force.
Oh, are you talking about the Nick Cage movie?
Yeah, I always thought it was hilarious. Nick Cage wanted to do the Five Nights at Freddy's film, and they said no. And he said, "Okay, I'll just make my own." I'm not so sure he didn't do the better one.
It's actually, I think it was actually Willy's Wonderland is what it was called.
Willy's one. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And Nick it's on Tubi right now.
Nick Cage is just going I'm going to make my own Five Nights at Freddy's with blackjack and hookers.
Hookers.
You don't do blackjack at Five Nights at Freddy's. That's through the whole damn thing.
It's actually one of those things that I've noticed a lot in Brandon Tenold's things is that, sure, low budget horror movies are often schlocky and silly, but some of them actually have genuinely very, very good concepts and as a story are great, even if the budget was pitiful and the marketing was nearly non-existent. Which is actually, in some cases, the reason why some of these movies were forgotten is that most people in the country just never heard of them.
There was a horror movie that came out 3 years ago now, and it was a horror movie version of The Grinch called The Mean One.
Heard of it?
Oh, gracious. Well, they also have the Santa Claus slasher flicks. And
Violent Night and all that
variations on that,
and of course,
not
anything and everything involving Krampus.
There was one.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say you could argue that Halloween was in fact a holiday horror film,
Yeah, different holiday.
but it was built around a holiday.
Yes.
Yeah, there was one whole
Alex.
Christmas horror movie that caught my attention. It came out in 2015, and the only reason I remember it because it was released in theaters on my birthday, and it was literally called Krampus. And it was about this kid. He stopped believing in Christmas, and because of that, Krampus came and basically wiped out his whole family.
Hmm. Yeah, that's one of the movies I was alluding to the existence of earlier. Although my understanding is that there's actually been more than just that one that used Krampus. It's just that I'm not sure how large the budget on some of the other ones was.
Yeah, I know. Violent Night, when that one was released in 2022, got like mixed reviews because I guess it was like Santa was like some like special ops soldier at one point or something, or he just had the training of one.
Well, if I remember right, oh, Roger said that his computer crashed on him. That's
Yeah, I just
unfortunate.
got the message too. So
Um, some of the movies have, like Jingle All the Way, have focused on the whole like Santa thing being like a person who is, a guy in a suit, and having that be the reason why Santa is evil or insane or something. Which
well, Jingle All the Way didn't have anything to do with Santa. It was about a dad trying to get a special toy for his son for Christmas.
but at one point in the movie, though, they one of the two main characters did actually dress up in a Santa suit, didn't he?
Yeah,
I
Schwarzenegger
don't
did.
remember. I don't remember if he actually did it or not. It's been a while since I watched it, so
But
I'll have
like
to find it.
that was the thing with that, though, is that you have one of the main characters as Santa doing things that you wouldn't expect Santa to do under normal circumstances.
Yeah.
Now,
I
that's
know
not a
there was
slasher
that.
movie, but that's the same basic idea that you can put into a slasher movie, is that it's a guy dressed up as Santa as a way to hide the fact that he's actually here to kill you.
I think some good classic Christmas movies were the Tim Allen Santa Claus movies. Even if the later ones weren't as good, I think they all still like hold a special place among Christmas movies just because of like the nostalgia and how classic they were.
They had a
They did
very
a good job.
they had a very interesting concept for it, where being Santa Claus is kind of sort of a curse.
Well, more like a job you can inherit. I think that would be the better way to put it. It's a position. You are the Claus,
Mm.
but there can only be one at a time.
And then there was
Wait, what
that
are we
one
talking
where it
about
was
now?
like it was Tim Allen's the Santa Claus movies.
Great Christmas movie. Did we?
Yeah, but
Did
I'm
we
also
all?
thinking, wasn't it the one that had like I forget the name. He was in Wedding Crashers, not the blonde guy, the black haired guy, and he was like Santa's
Vince
brother.
Vaughn, Fred Claus.
Yeah.
Did you all bring up the greatest Christmas movie yet?
Die Hard.
Hell yeah!
It does take place during Christmas time.
I also got Gremlins over there. If you want me to pull that up.
You know
That's a
what's funny?
Christmas
I've never
movie.
seen any of the Die Hard movies.
Really?
Yeah. I think my dad
Yeah,
owns them all now, though.
Only worry about the first two, maybe the first three.
I'll be honest, the last one, I don't think it was a bad movie, but it's not really quite. It's basically Die Hard, the next generation, which kind of sort
It
of
is.
hits differently. Although I have to say that the concept they came up with for the bad guy plot actually is genuinely something that I would find quite concerning. So, having that as a bad guy doing bad guy things for bad guy reasons, it works. Because like the whole like cybersecurity, cyber terrorism angle, that's legit nowadays.
Yeah.
And then there was technically Narnia's a Christmas movie.
Oh yes,
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
That was actually something I wanted to bring up on the Red Music Channel show yesterday that I never got to brought up. We've over the years of teacher history, we've had 3 different Lord of the Rings games. You've had the Rollmaster version, the MERP, the Middle Earth role playing game. That was the very first Lord of the Rings game. You had the 5e version that is now on Beyond, and then you had Free League's The One Ring. I'm very much surprised that there never was quite a game that they made centered around Narnia, because it totally fits with the fantasy aspect.
The fantasy part,
Yeah.
yes. I have to question how you would stat most of the things in Narnia, though. It feels like the sort of setting that would lend itself well to a system like Star Trek Adventures uses, where you like, yes, you do roll for things, but it's mostly it's like, does this character know how to do this? Versus like actually like combat stats and stuff like that. Where it's like more an RPG based around problem solving than actually fighting. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you could be able to do it. I mean, like literally, when I look, because one thing I thought about playing was doing a Christmas game with the Horde Wars RPG called The Lion, the Witch, and the Horde Wars, because literally it has stats for an Ice Queen, which is basically what the Witch was, and then like a lion, and you can just change up the lion stats a little bit if you want. It gives you rules to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
That's because that's one of the things I loved about Horde Wars Advanced, especially. It has such a vast bestiary book when it comes to its monsters, its creatures, NPCs you can pick from, that you can do almost anything with it. Like I could literally run Dragonlance using Horde Wars because that's how extensive the bestiary is.
Sounds cool.
And then
I have noted that with certain games, like their reason for publishing supplements is just to expand their bestiary to be like, okay, in this one, we're going to put in 20 different kinds of mutant plants. Why? Because we didn't put in 20 kinds of mutant plants in the last supplement.
Well, I told you guys about the Shadowfinder bestiary I got like a couple weeks ago, didn't I?
No.
So someone took the 6 bestiary books from first edition Pathfinder and statted them all to be compatible with Shadow Dark, and it is a soft cover 500-page book.
Okay, that is actually an impressive tome.
Now, given there is no artwork for any of these creatures, it's just the names and the stats, and that's basically it. But
okay, so if you added artwork, that would double the page
at
count.
least. Now there is one of my buddies, Foxoff RPG. One thing gripe he did have was there are some pages that there is some white space on it. So it's like he could have if he wanted to add artwork or kind of condensed it down a bit, he probably could take it off maybe 20 pages or so. But I mean, for what you're getting with it, I'm not complaining that much about it.
A book that size, a little white space here and there, whatever.
Yeah, I've definitely seen worse games with white space stuff than Bestiary.
Honestly, the most annoying thing I've ever seen in books like that is when you have most of the entries are one solid page, and then there's one entry where it's one page and 2 lines of text on the next one. I'm like, why? What in the templating failure happened?
Or you get when I was talking about when I was talking about the difference between Shadowfinder monster stats and then a monster stat from Curse of Strahd, where freaking Strahd's stat himself takes up the entire freaking page, whereas for a vampire it's maybe a fourth up to half depending on the vampire type.
Well, what is it? A list of 12 different passive abilities or something weird like that, and 8 different combat abilities.
For Strahd, I'll have to. I would have to look it back over. I don't have it completely memorized, but I would assume yes.
Yeah, it's just I've never actually read any of the stat write-ups they did for Strahd in any of the official books, but from what I've seen for high-ranking vampires, I would expect that, yes, he's going to have several different passives where if X, Y, or Z happens, haha, you're screwed. But also is he's going to have a list of abilities. I'm going to mind control this party member now. Reaction roll, saving throw. No, that's not how this works.
Don't be giving Hunter ideas. I'm the closest one to losing my character sanity. He might just do that.
Yeah, because
Well, so,
we're using the
so
2014 optional rule of sanity attribute, but we're treating it like a Call of Cthulhu thing where you fail. If you fail to check, you're losing sanity.
well, like my thought with the whole like unavoidable one is that it's not like a permanent possession thing. It's just like he gets to choose what you do for your next action. Not all of them.
Even still.
Yeah. Like I think Christmas movie wise, there's two movies I wish they would stop playing often on like when they do it on TV. Stop doing the 24-hour Christmas Story marathons and like limit the amount of times Elf is played. Those are two Christmas
Yeah.
movies I kind of tired of.
To be fair, they do just section the Christmas Story 24-hour marathon just like TBS.
I'm surprised if they're going to play the first Christmas Story that long. Why not play the second one as well on top of that? So they're playing back to back.
Because nobody cares about the second one.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I guarantee you, if you even tell people, they'll be like, "There's a sequel to A Christmas Story."
Yep. I think I've seen it all of once in my entire life. It's because of the just how rarely it gets broadcast.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. One I never saw was you had Adam Sandler's 8 Crazy Nights.
Adam Sandler's 8 Crazy Nights is fantastic. I don't care what anybody has to say. That movie is genius.
The National Lampoon Christmas Vacation is one of my personal favorite holiday films, simply because of the fact that it feels like the sort of insanity my family would get up to on Christmas.
Yeah, there's an old one that because I'm just looking up different Christmas movies now, and I forgot that I even had this when I was a kid. It was called Annabelle's Wish, and it was about these farm animals that were given the gift of speech by Santa.
That I had Christmas Vacation.
But one of the calves was this calf. She wanted to be a reindeer, and that was her dream. And then it revolved around like there was this deaf kid that lost his voice due to a house fire. It was a very interesting and sweet movie for the time.
There's been a lot of them. That's one thing that people have in the past made jokes about is the sheer number of times Hallmark has made Christmas movies, because the fact that they seemingly make one or two every single year. And a lot of them are written by the same people, because it's just whoever has Hallmark has on their staff doing writing.
Well, the problem with those Hallmark movies is that they're essentially the same story every single time. Girl from big city, having trouble at her job. She moves back to her small hometown. She meets the hunky guy there. She has to conflict with herself. It's like, do I want to go back to the city, or is my calling actually here? And falls in love with the hunky guy at the very end.
I love
every single
little...
one.
I'll be honest. The sheer sameness of most Hallmark movies is why Hallmark gets memed to hell and back. Is because of the fact that people are like, yes, you've seen a Hallmark movie. Good. Now you don't need to watch the rest of them.
I love the little meme videos that have been coming out now. That's like, it's the guy that she broke up with to marry the other guy, and it's just like, he's not in the wrong. He wasn't the villain. He was the hero, because he goes on and he basically what's the phrase I'm looking for? He dodges the red flag and basically becomes successful.
Yeah, it's like, so some of the Hallmark movies are written by people who have a questionable concept of morality, because what it is that they're written from a vantage point of, you take a main character. What does this main character want in life? And how are you going to give that thing to that main character?
So
that the main character is a terrible person. So you end up with a movie with this weirdly skewed concept of good and evil, because it's warping good and evil to fit the whims of the main character, who isn't actually a good person.
Mark, you are thinking way too hard about Hallmark movies. They don't care about actual proper storytelling. It's just pumping it out so we can have content to shovel down people's throats.
I'm using this as an explanation of why I avoid them.
Yeah. But I guarantee you put more thought in like that 3-minute discussion about it than they have during the whole entire writing process of, oh, how should we write this movie?
Well, see, my thoughts on that though
Probably.
was because I've actually had discussions in real life with people about like this is why I don't like Hallmark is because of the fact that their stuff is just not things that I would want to have my children watch because I wouldn't want children to imitate that behavior.
Some of their stuff is
So
good. It's very pablum. It's designed to be as inoffensive as possible, and that means they can't actually take positions that would require you to either agree or disagree with the premise of the film.
So
If I'm
so
more,
I was doing my weekly stroll along through Drive to RPG, the free and pay what you want sections, and someone actually made a game called "Tis the Season for a Small Smart Christmas Movie TTRP,"
That
and
sounds
it's just
fun.
it's a 2-page D12 roll under game where the Coco Master, which is the game master for this game, plays Candy Lovejoy. I'll read this to you because I had the file opened up on my phone. Candy Lovejoy is just a small town girl who escaped to the big city to follow her dreams. Thriving as an up and coming publicist in Chicago, she's up for a big promotion. All she has to do, say goodbye to her wealthy lawyer boyfriend, Dirk Bland, and go home to Gingerbread Falls to close the deal for their biggest client. Now it's up to you, the ones she left behind, to help her rediscover her holiday spirit and maybe even fall in love. And then you guys have 4 different holiday heroes to pick from. You have the craftsman, the single dad, the childhood friend, and the innkeeper.
I want Innkeeper.
And basically, you're just rolling up a typical Hallmark movie to play out.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me pick one here. The scene is the toy drive is coming up short. Someone needs to drum up donations. And then the holiday hijinks is the family dog mistakes Candy's laptop for a chew toy. Ruh-roh.
God, yeah.
And then yeah, it looks like you're just it's basically a big old it's just a 2-page story game type deal where you're just reenacting a Hallmark movie.
The fact that you just had that played out and everything just goes to show like how easy it is to just recreate those movies.
There's I forget I don't know the name of the Instagram channel I came across this, but some of his shorts he did was they were basically playing Mad Libs with story prompts, and that was how they would come up with all the different Hallmark movies.
Mm. Yeah, if I'm ever gonna watch Hallmark Channel, I might rather watch movies and mysteries where they just show constant reruns of Murder She Wrote. Because at least that's better entertainment right there.
I always liked when most childhood cartoons they always had like the obligatory Christmas special that they would do.
Well, yeah, that's written deep in the contracts.
Yeah, like I think the one that I remember at the top of my head was back the original That's So Raven when it was on Disney Channel. It was like a 2-episoder, I think, actually, where
The
it's like what
I
you
was
about to
gonna
say?
say I was gonna say the only time that I've ever seen where they actually step outside of that realm, and it's very rare that they did, was actually the Rugrats, where they had all 3 of Christmas, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa specials.
I remember the old school Proud Family cartoon in the early 2000s. They had a Kwanzaa episode where they learned about it,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that makes sense.
and then oh, there was a movie I watched years and years ago, and it's like an older movie, but it's about these it takes place during World War II as these Jewish kids are running away from the Nazis to try to escape to freedom. And they're at like it's a school or this orphanage, and it has a whole Hanukkah theme centered around it. Because there's a scene where where it's like all these kids from the school are meeting these other or hanging out with these other children at night, and the way they light up the candles, it looks like what do they call that thing? That thing the
Menorah?
Hanukkah candle, the menorah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like a menorah display. I don't remember the name of the movie. I watched it years ago.
That's actually one of those things I heard that some of the people in that part of the world would do as a sort of like a weird way of being, shall we say, um, doing Jewish things, but using non-Jewish things to do it is just like get 7 candlesticks of different heights. And if you arrange them in a certain pattern, it looks like a menorah. But the rest of the year, you could have them scattered around the room where no one will notice them.
Mm.
Hold on, I think I may
Yeah,
have found it. I'm
that
just looking it up. Yep, it was a move. It was called Miracle at Moreau. It was released in 1985.
Huh.
I would have never guessed it.
Yeah, it was a combination of both
I
Christmas
think I've
and
heard of that one
Hanukkah.
before.
I don't remember even. I think I watched it at school one time because I think we were watching it during learning about World War II or something.
Really, because the movie that they made us watch to tell us about World War II when I was going to school was Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
Oh God, I remember watching that and just I never read the book. I watched the movie and that was so heartbreaking to watch.
Oh yeah,
And then Miracle, and then you had some of the older classics like you had Miracle on 34th Street,
yes,
Wonderful
That's
Life,
true.
yes.
the classic stop motion movies, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, uh, what's crap, the one about the Heat Miser and Jack Frost. I forget the name of that one.
I know it, but I can't think of what the name of
I
it.
think the
It's one
Christmas
of those
that
things. The Jack
was it the Chris-
Frost one, but became less popular over time. I think, where it's like it used to be popular, then people decided to replace it with other things in their holiday
Yeah,
watching.
the Christmas that almost wasn't. That's what it was called.
Okay.
And
I used
then,
to love those old animated films. Those were great.
One of my personal favorite was Nightmare Before Christmas.
I don't consider that a classic one, but I do remember watching it and liking it. That was
It,
kind of.
it's highly
I mean,
memorable.
that's what's his name?
Jack Skellington.
Tim Burton. Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Tim Burton.
And he's so weird.
and this one's it's kind of a Christmas one, but it's called Rudolph and Frosty's Christmas in July. Is what this
Oh
one's
yeah,
called.
and that is yeah.
But then you
I
also got
remember
like
that
the
one.
classic. You got classic like actual cartoons. You had the original Grinch, the original Frosty the Snowman. I remember when Rudolph got like a cartoon adaptation, like in the early 2000s,
Yeah.
and that was like a whole like they like went on a whole they made like a whole deal, and it was like popular at the time because it was like there was like it was the normal Rudolph story, but then there was like an Ice Queen that was like making it really hard to do stuff and all that.
I must have just skipped over that because that does not sound familiar to me at all.
It's one of those things where it's like when it came out, it was popular and people liked it, but it didn't get added to the list of things that people rewatch regularly.
You know what needs to be thing that needs to be added on there for people to watch regularly? Grandma got ran over by a reindeer.
That is one I never saw all the way through. I only ever seen that in bits and pieces.
It's actually one of those things where it's like it's a heartwarming story in a silly way because the fact that it's like grandma getting run over by a reindeer and then it's like, oh, she's gone now. I wonder where she went. And then you find out that she actually ended up going to the North Pole so Santa Claus could give her hot chocolate or something, and then he brings her back home.
But then
he
sent to court for kidnapping grandma.
Yeah, so that Rudolph movie I'm talking about was not released in the early 2000s. It was actually released in 1998.
Okay.
It was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the movie, is what it was called. And apparently it was a Canadian production, surprising enough. Wonder who was in it now. Now I'm curious who the cast was. Oh, yeah, because the witch queen, her name was Stormella, voiced by Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, good Lord.
And John Goodman was Santa Claus in that movie.
That one I can actually see. I can actually see that one.
I actually think he played Santa Claus in more than one thing, but I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, and then one of the elves, his name was Boone, voiced by Richard Simmons.
Oh, I hope to God that elf was overly flamboyant.
Yeah, I think they may have like pitch changed his voice a little bit for the elves because they were kind of like, "Hey, what you doing there? Put it down. Be careful." It was kind of like that.
Mm. Now, if you're gonna get Richard Simmons, you have to go over the top with it, just because where he's just a over the top silly little man. Eh,
Yeah, I think oh man, that I'm just going down nostalgia lane now thinking about all these different movies I grew up seeing and watching. Like my son's favorite one that he likes to watch now is when they did an when they did a film adaptation of Polar Express.
that movie right there is nightmare fuel.
I think it's amazing. It's a
I
great
thought it was.
movie.
I thought it
Oh,
was a
like
very
that.
well done film for
I
what it
don't know, like
was.
everything about it is like visually breathtaking, all except for the humans. The humans are just uncanny, godless monstrosities.
Okay. Well, you gotta think Polar
Well,
Express was released
I
in
think there you're highlighting the limitations of the technology they used to make it.
Oh, but
back in 2004 when this movie was released. This is early 2000s CGI animation, which was rough at the time when you look back on it
I know,
now.
I know, and
See,
like the roughest one was like the guy in the glasses who was voiced by Mandark from Dexter's Laboratory.
see,
You mean Tom
what
Hanks?
That's not what?
Tom Hanks was the conductor in Polar Express.
No, I'm talking about the kid in the glasses.
Oh, that dude. Oh,
Yes, I'm not talking about Tom Hanks.
yeah, well, one thing I keep mentioning here is that I like to compare the old CGI works to Babylon 5. Did they have what was probably the best CGI available at the time? Yes. However, they also remembered that there's certain things you can't do with CGI, and they avoided doing those things, which is part of Polar Express's problem. Is that Polar Express needs to have CGI faces that actually emote like real faces.
Yeah, like I said, like scenery, the art direction, everything of Polar Express is really good. It's just the no, I don't want the humans in it.
Hmm.
Well,
Well, I mean,
without the humans, it would not have been a story. So, again,
I
you're
mean,
kind of highlighting the problems of the technology.
it's
I
like
know.
with the first Toy Story movie, where it's like Buddy and Buzz and all those characters in it that are actually look great. Anytime you have to look at the humans in that, they look like mannequins walking around.
Yeah. That's why they couldn't
yeah.
really pull off like that was because they were trying to go for like that more human-esque actual kind of look to them, and they just never worked out. That's why they never, aside from the Toy Story movies, that's why all the Pixar movies had no humans whatsoever. And then once The Incredibles happens, where they actually had like caricatures of cartoonish looking humans and everything, that actually made it work.
Well, like one of the things I think they realized with the first Toy Story is that the kind of art style that they were using and the technology that they had for making the three-dimensional characters just couldn't make a realistic face.
Yeah.
So we kind of got off track. So Mar Hockman, did you have any Christmas gaming plans this week?
Oh yeah,
Um,
we were talking about that.
Well, I mean, I'm doing that thing this afternoon. Uh, do, 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 do. I'm actually not really sure, honestly, because like, my family wants to have a get together on the 26th. I'm not sure if we're actually going to do any gaming stuff with that one. They haven't actually said anything other than a date yet. Yeah, because like there's like two different like things that I did characters for this week, but I don't, because like one of them was the one for that was actually what we were planning to do today, for instead of this, but that got pushed back to sometime.
Yeah, hopefully if everything works out, we may be able to start the campaign next week.
Yeah, I was I've only ran like a couple like Christmas games throughout my last throughout the years, and one of my favorite ones was I did a thing where it was like the Santa's sleigh got knocked out from the sky, and the characters had to help him, and so they had to find the parts of the sleigh that got knocked out. Except the Yule Cat was protecting one of the parts.
Well, that's what I'll just say this. I like how you decided that for the one shot tomorrow, you're implementing not just the dispatch thing, but also just going with the Jingle All the Way, which was my favorite Christmas movie growing up.
I just thought it was a funny idea, and because it was supposed to be super, I don't. I have yet to actually ever run like kind of a superhero based campaign, and Fate does give you like tips and tricks of like if you want to do superheroes, like kind of do this or that with it, because Fate is basically it's a setting agnostic game. So
Well,
yeah,
yeah. Again, just I'm looking forward to it just because I get to try out other game mechanics and everything, and
yeah,
not just D&D.
yeah. And the Dispatch video game itself is very much like an action comedy with some tactical stuff to it. So yeah, I think this will fit if this kind of fits with the vibe of it. I think so. I'm looking forward to running this, and just actually being able to like run other games for the channel for a change.
Exactly.
That way, start getting away a little bit from the 5e here and there, unless y'all want to do it for something specific.
Well, that's actually one of those things that's interesting is that while 5e is a playable game system, there's a whole lot of other things.
Yeah. 2014 is not a bad system. I will admit to that a little bit, despite how anti D&D I was for like the longest time. Like, what was I thinking about? Because I was going through my books earlier, and I thought I saw something that I'm like, I may just end up having to use. Oh yeah. So there's this RPG author. His name is Andrew Kolb, Kolb, and what he is known for, he has released 3 different like adventure games that are 5e compatible based on fairy tales. He's got one based on the city of Oz from Wizard of Oz. He's got another one where it's the adventure in Neverland. And then the newest one he released is Wonderland, which is Alice in Wonderland, but it's treated like a dungeon crawl.
That actually makes a lot of sense because depending on which version of Alice in Wonderland you work in, uh, the way that the story is formatted is almost like Alice is working her way through a hex crawl adventure.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like
I thought like
you
that
go
would be
into a
kind of
room.
fun.
What's in this room, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, it's like depending on how long we actually want Curse of Strahd to go, I'm almost tempted to incorporate Falling into Wonderland as part of the Curse of Strahd game we're doing.
Well, I mean, like, my only experience with the actual story of Curse of Strahd was playing the version of it in Dungeons and Dragons Online, and it has the idea in it that the Barovian mists are and have some sort of like a teleportation mechanic where if you get lost in the mist, you might end up somewhere very different than where you thought you were because the mist took you.
I mean, that is a possibility. Yeah, I don't. It's just something I kind of threw around because I was talking about it on. I forgot I was talking about it on another server, and I just was looking through the books and reading over it. So it's like
I'm not sure
it's
what
just
the actual like a printed module had for it, but in the DDO version, this actually gets used as a perimeter, whereas like there's an area where the mist isn't, but if you get too far into the mist actually just teleports you back to the spawn point because it's an MMO. It's not a text-based adventure, so you can't wander off the map. But they also kind of sort of use that as a plot device where your character will get engulfed by the mist for plot reasons, and then they'll use that as a plot device to force you to be on a different map now.
yeah. I would love to actually try out like some of the because I know there was like a bunch of like old school like Dungeons and Dragons video games that they made for like Atari, and I think trying to remember, like there was a bunch of different ones that were made at one point for like Atari
D-
and oh, I forget what the other consoles they were made for was.
DDO is still running, but it's a game where you really need a party to do most of the things because they're designed to have multiple players, and trying to solo something meant for 4 players doesn't work very well.
Yeah, because I know there was like because I know there was how I found out because I know there was a couple different Dragonlance like video games that they made. Like yeah, here we go. There a lot of them were for like either home computer or NES. A lot of those ones were. They had some for they had quite a they had a 3 for Dark Sun surprisingly, all for two the first two for MS DOS. The other then there was Dark Sun Online, which was a MMORPG for Windows. Then I saw that apparently they had a Ravenloft game. It was called Iron and Blood Warriors of Ravenloft for MS DOS and PlayStation.
Hmm. Yeah, DDO. It's been around for so many years that they've added like multiple different D&D worlds to it. Whereas like the main one is Eberron, but you can go to other ones because, well, to justify their existence, they have to add new stuff to the game periodically. So like every year they add more and more and more and more. It's like, so where have we not taken the story yet? Hmm.
Yeah, they even had one. I guess they had Dungeons and Dragons Heroes game for Xbox. Funny enough, and then you had
Hmm.
Temple of Elemental Evil video game for Windows.
Oh, you know what? I just remember something about DDO that's my favorite thing I've seen in the game. That is that certain maps in the game have such a high verticality that they decide to have like the lower level and the upper level of the map. But in some cases, you can actually transition from the upper level to the lower level by jumping off a building. Thing is, if you don't have something to prevent you from taking fall damage, it'll kill you. And then you'll respawn in the lower level. But if you do have something to prevent you from taking fall damage, you just map transition. Well, I thought it was fun.
Yeah, but then you got like I know they have like the first two Baldur's Gate games have been remastered, and you can actually play those on mobile now. And then you got the rave that is now Baldur's Gate 3, where you could choose
Yeah,
where
that's good.
where you get the story of when a bear and a woman love each other very much.
That is made by Larian, and Larian likes to throw in stuff just for shock value. And Larian is also a studio that is like, okay, we have bad people doing bad people things for bad people reasons. What sort of immoral, degenerate nonsense do we want to have the bad people do in this game? Because like I've seen the trailer that they put out for the next Divinity game, and yikes, that makes Diablo look tame.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the issue that I've seen, and I've brought this up multiple times when it comes to video games now, is we have one side for the longest time that was going, there's too much sex in this, get rid of it. And now that we've added sex back into it, now the other side's going, there's too much sex in it, get rid of it.
And it's different people crying about the same thing.
It's like, we can't have nice things. Why? Like, I don't care. Like, in all honesty, I don't care if you want to fuck the bear in Baldur's Gate 3. The fact it
as long as it's something that
We
I don't
don't
have to
care.
do
And
when
most
I'm playing the
importantly,
game. I don't care.
why? I can't
It's like-
ever
But like-
remember people doing that at a single gaming table I ever played at.
it's like
It's like,
Exactly.
it's like go ahead and fuck the tiefling, go ahead and fuck the vampire twink. I really do not care. The fact remains that Baldur's Gate 3 proved that even though people don't want to admit it, sex sells.
Well, see, here's the thing that
at least they can have
grandmother,
sex that is not perverse.
explained to me when I was a small child. Okay? Something that I've kept in mind through my adult life because of the fact that I find it to be true over and over again is that most of human social interaction follows the same logic as chickens fighting for dominance in the chicken coop. It's like this chicken wants to sit here, so he fights for dominant chicken that wants to sit here, and thus he is the only chicken allowed to sit there. because he has established dominance. And that's like half of social interactions.
Because you know what the greatest part? It's not the fact that I don't care that they have it in the game. It's when you start making it feel like it's a forced upon you. Because like you can play Baldur's Gate 3 through the entire thing without choosing to bone anyone or anything if you want to. That is an option.
The only game I can think of that I've ever played that actually forced you to get married and have children was one of the Dragon Quest games, but that's because of the fact that it used a mechanic in the game where your children would actually be party members in the latter part of the game. In the early part of the game, it's before you have children. And also, for obvious reasons, this means that the main character is always male because logic, because they wrote like several characters to be options that you could romance or, well, okay, not really romance. It didn't actually write it in as a romance. It's more like it's like you interact with the various characters and the game, and then at some point in the game, your character's father tells them, like, okay, it's time for you to choose a bride, and then there's the list of characters that you've met and talked to that are available as options to choose as a bride, who are willing to be your bride, and yeah, it. It was a fun thing because the fact that it was an integral part of the story and didn't make it gross.
Like I mean, I know in Skyrim you had the one quest you got on where you could just pick a random person to marry, and they could be the opposite sex or the same sex.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not as like descriptive with the romance as it was in like say Baldur's Gate 3, but I mean but it was still like, hey, this things like this have been around for a while, and back then no one complained about it too much. The only gripe I have
Well,
was
that
they would not let me marry the vampiress. That's the one
well,
gripe I have.
the problem with that is that we got to a point where yes, there is like so much of it that happens in like something like Baldur's Gate 3. But you gotta remember back when Mass Effect came out, just because you were having that option, it made it onto the news.
Mass Effect 3 giving you the option. They didn't actually have like
No, I'm
the
not.
list of romanceable characters, and you can any of them as male or female. No, it's like several of the romanceable characters are only male or only female, because that's a limitation in how the people writing it programmed the thing, because they actually like did separate dialogue options for male and female and didn't want to like double all of them or something.
Well, I'm talking about in the first game where you basically just got to choose between like Liara, Ashley, or Kanan, depending on like if you decide to play male or female. That shit made it onto actual national news because that was just during that time when
People
Fox
had nothing better
was
to talk about.
exactly. But even still, the fact that they even went out of their way to do that is still just pure insanity.
I'm just thinking about the gamer the manslayer gamer poop Mass Effect short story. It's like, meet me in my quarters later. We'll bang, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then freaking I think what was it? It was the third, I believe, the third Saints Row game where they're like in space after the planet got blown up.
That's
You could literally just Saints Row. You could literally just fuck everyone.
I mean, it's Saints Row. Them being morally degenerate is a feature, not a bug.
Well, let's also not forget about how it all pretty much stemmed from GTA, where you could just literally go hire a hooker, banger, killer, and get your money back.
GTA games have always been about being morally degenerate. Yeah, morally degenerate sounds like a good way of describing it, because like it's actually harder to play a law-abiding citizen in GTA games than it is to be a mass murderer who like robs and steals from everyone.
That's probably true. Yeah. I
actually got GTA 5 for free and decided to like play around in the online mode just to see what I could do, because like I'm just here to enjoy the scenery. I'm not here to do heists. In that game, I actually had a character start a fight with me just because I stood too close to him in a clothing store. It's just a random NPC, not another player who's going around shooting people at random. A random NPC decided to pick a fight with me simply because I stood too close to him in a clothing store.
Well, it does represent kind of the modern American urban hellscape.
I mean, it's a parody of Los Angeles, so yeah,
Exactly.
for Los Angeles, that does sound about right. Even so,
So, since we've been on the topic of romance, because I saw just remember this, let's talk about some anime for a second. As one of the most
Yeah.
popular animes, My Hero Academia has officially now come to an end, and everyone in the fandom is in an uproar because everyone is straight, and that has been now officially confirmed. No one is gay, as far as I can remember, in My Hero Academia. Everyone is straight as an arrow.
Yep.
that's just it, though. Is that the official stance on
Japanese.
that was always the kids, and that the fan shippers were just making stuff up, trying to justify being wrong.
Yeah, now they did have two trans characters, one of which was like a villain, and that villain got promptly axed off after like 2 episodes.
Oh, the Japanese anime is not merciful
Oh.
towards troons. They are
Mhm.
routinely
Yeah,
Okay,
it's like
jokes or
I
villains.
was like, who in the world are you talking about? And I remember the character now.
there was the male to there was the female to male of those kitty cat like heroes that they trained under, and then there was the
I wouldn't
male to
even
female
consider
one.
I wouldn't even count that one. That one was just more play for laughs than anything. I wouldn't
Probably.
Take it I wouldn't have taken
Well,
that
that's
one
typical of
seriously.
Japanese anime, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because
But,
the trans villain was like, I want to live how I want, immediately gets blown in half and killed.
Like, yes, you have made your choice. Here are your consequences. Bye.
Yeah, because everyone wanted the main character, Izuku Midoriya, to be gay as a butterfly for some odd reason, not realizing that there has been this buildup with one of the female characters that they've made blatantly obvious for the last 5-6 seasons.
This is a
It-
thing that I realized back in the 90s with the whole like Xena fandom, is that a lot of the people who were trying to claim Xena was gay were lying. They're just
Pretty much.
they're just like making up stuff that's not true because of the fact that they want to push their narrative.
Oh,
And it's
go
like they
ahead,
don't
finish. I just
really
had
have
another thought.
they don't actually have a valid understanding of the subject matter. They're just doing whatever to push their narrative, even though they know it's not true.
That reminded me, did you guys see the post that was going around apparently where Laura Croft is now apparently a queer icon?
yeah,
Are you
I've been saying
kidding
that,
me?
but
This is
they've been pushing that for a while, but because of that Netflix show where they actually did make her a lesbian, that just fueled the fire within those weirdos.
well, it's like I was saying, is that there's been this movement in the gay community to claim characters as gay that's been going on since the 90s, where their entire purpose is to antagonize people who aren't gay.
I got a big primary example. I got one of the cards right here. Just give me a second, because it also happens in One Piece. All right, there's a character that's extremely popular in the One Piece series. Her name is Yamato. The thing about it is that because of her growing up and everything, she idolized this character called Kozuki Oden to the point where she actually believes that she is this man that she idolized. And because of that, it caused a lot of people to get completely up in arms saying that Yamato is a trans icon.
Nah, it's like
But-
the thing with Yamato
but here-
is that she was part of that because she didn't want people to was as well.
I again, they don't care. They don't care about context. They hear
They
one
don't know
line.
what the story is. They're just making up bullshit.
That's exactly it. But the problem is that this character right here, Kikunojo, if you wouldn't say anything, that is a man, and because of the way he grew up and everything, he had to disguise himself as a woman to the point where he acts more womanly than he does man. And if you want a character who you can consider to be like a trans icon, it'd be this character right here.
But these weirdos have no
But
idea who
because
that is because they're tourists.
exactly because Kikunojo isn't popular, they don't care. They want to go after popular characters. That's the issue. To hell with characters that already are established in their series as either being gay or whatnot. They don't care. If they're not the popular main characters, they don't care because they want to just take over what it is that you love.
Yeah, like the example with Xena. It's like so they actually had several plots in Xena about Xena's romantic relationships with men, and the fact that
Mhm.
that's what she wanted in life, and they try to claim her as gay, and it's like, really, you're going to no, that
Again,
makes
This
no
does
sense.
bring up.
It's a measure of their perversion. Perverts destroy everything they touch.
Yep.
Yeah.
hey, don't
Okay.
talk
So I
about Hunter
just.
that way.
Oh, jeez. But okay, so another show that I used to love, and then it kind of fell off the wagon. The first two seasons of DC's Young Justice were great. It was
Oh
kind
yeah.
of like
Dude,
it was like Teen Titans Plus is what it was. So
It,
because
it,
you
it
had all
was
the DC characters.
it was taking the setting and doing it in a it's not actually directly copying the comic book plots, but it's going in what very similar tone and direction that the comic book plots would have. It's just that it jumped into a time period where it's a very, very modern roster. So they don't have most of the main characters. And also they came up with a new version of Miss Martian that is different from the previous versions in a way that I don't personally like, but it's a relatively minor adaptation change that's whatever. It's an alternate universe.
So the problem that happens is when they get when you got the season 3 and then going to season 4, there was this big narrative shift to where they were introducing sexuality and gender ideology.
I
Mhm.
think that was actually just like the showrunners basically got told by the bigwigs they had to do it. That or the bigwigs just changed who was writing it. I'm not really sure. I didn't. I heard it was bad. Didn't actually watch it.
Okay, I could break it down because like whenever I heard season 3 getting announced, because this is a point in time where the second season was the ending that we got, and as soon as like that DC streaming service came to be, I don't even remember what it was called. That one of the things that they announced was that they were bringing back Young Justice. Me thinking like, oh shit, one of my favorite cartoons is actually coming back. This was before I got uh black pilled and thinking like, modern day entertainment just sucks ass. And I watched it, and for the most part, some of the stuff in season 3 I enjoyed. There was some stuff that's just like, okay, why are you bringing this whole entire thing up? Like like one of the things that they did make a little subtle was like Aqualad being bisexual. They kind of hinted at that. Then they just show him full blown like kissing another male character in season 3. But
They had
granted, go
they
ahead.
had the polyamorous relationship with like Lagoon Boy and I think like Aqua
That
Girl
was
or something.
yeah, that was in season 4, and I was just like, what the
There were
fuck?
several lesbian characters prominently shown throughout as well.
Yes, yeah. One of them was two of the new characters, Harper Row from season 3, and
That's actually
the
basically what they
the
put
not
Harper Row
Muslim
in.
girl.
That's actually what the reason why they introduced Harper Row in the comics is to have a token whatever character so that they could fill a checkbox without actually rewriting one of the other characters like they did with Tim Drake.
And I think the worst thing that season 4 did was they was blackwashing Zod.
Oh
Because
yeah, that
it's
was
literally was
horrible.
what it
I
was.
heard
They
about that.
blackwashed Zod.
Mm-hmm.
Because like it's canonical that Crick actually did have multiple ethnic groups, and that most of what we know of Krypton actually is solely people from two cities on Krypton that were populated by a single ethnic group. And that most of the ethnic groups on Krypton actually died when Krypton exploded, and the handful of survivors are mostly from either Kryptonopolis or Argo City. But Kryptonopolis and Argo City are the same group of Kryptonians, just
Yeah,
two
well, you
different
have to
cities.
remember that it is canonical that Zod and like his co-conspirators were sent to the Phantom Zone well before that the explosion happened as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But also, it's like in most versions, Zod is from Kryptonopolis.
So he would have been white regardless.
Yeah, exactly. It's like in some versions, Zod is in fact actually has a canonical status as a um I wouldn't say close relative of Superman, but he does actually have some sort of familial relationship, like a distant, like fifth or sixth or seventh cousin or something like that,
Hmm.
because of the fact that the aristocracy are kind of sort of it turns into a cobweb after a while.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Even though like Man of Steel got like mixed reviews, I did like. Trying to remember who like. Yeah, Michael Shannon's interpretation of General Zod was really good
Mm, yeah,
for Man of Steel.
Yeah. But
because like beating Terrence Stamp as Zod, good luck with that. But he gave it a good shot. Excellent effort.
one of my other big issues was the fact that for anybody who did watch the season 3 of Young Justice, was that at the very end, because of like all of like the conspiracy espionage, like
Yeah,
keeping stuff
yeah, that was
hidden
the
at
issue
the
with
end of
season
it.
three. It
They
still had good plot hooks.
Yeah, it still had good plot hooks and everything.
It, it
One
just
thing
had
that
clutter.
yeah was the fact that they had to vote in like a new leader of the Justice League, and because of them building the character up throughout the season, they decided to pick Black Lightning. And I'm like, who the fuck would follow Black Lightning
See, if it was
when
Mr. Terrific,
Superman
I
is
could
right
understand.
there?
If it was Mr. Terrific, I could understand, because Mr. Terrific is someone who is well, okay, in DCUO, for the Justice League Unlimited series, they actually have a Mr. Terrific as the guy on the Watchtower who coordinates crime fighting efforts.
Yes.
Because like he would sometimes do actual like direct action himself, but more often than not, he's just sitting in the Watchtower, helping people with what they're doing.
To be fair, I don't even think Mr. Terrific is even in the Young Justice cartoons.
Yeah, good point. They may have.
But even still, like, why go throughout this whole entire thing to make make this character the leader when there's actually been nothing that truly shows off of him being leader worthy? When if you need somebody that needs to be the leader and everything, you still got Superman there who can take like the counsel from like other people, but nah, it's because you wanted to have like the black guy be the leader.
Yeah.
It's
Black
like I
Lightning's
know.
character is he's like someone who, like, yes, he has useful powers. Yes, he's someone that is a trustworthy, but at the same time, he's not really team leader material, because of the fact that he's like, he tends to think in the way of like, "Oh, I'm going to do what I want to do in the way I want to do it, and f you." That's kind of
Yeah.
his like shtick.
Another thing that I thought was weird for that they did in season 3 was they aged down a lot of the supervillains, like a Livewire. They had her like a teenager when she was an adult, and
Okay,
the
see,
actual when she was in Superman.
here's the thing with the original version of Livewire in the Superman the Animated Series. She is portrayed as someone who I could if you
She's a
told
shock jockey.
if you told me that she was either 19 or 20, I would believe you. She's someone who is young, but she's not a child. She's definitely someone old enough to be considered a grown woman, but not much. She's
Someone who at the very least would be reasonably in like their early 20s.
Yeah, maybe 19, but like actually, well, see, because like here's the thing: one of the key plot points in that particular debut episode is the fact that one of her rivals in the whole like commentary scene was Batson.
AKA Shazam.
Yeah, it's like you never actually see Livewire fight Captain Marvel, but they don't actually have
Is
Livewire
it
in Justice League.
okay
So
that I liked the old Shazam at comic books? And in fact, I
yes,
Back when it
even
was
liked the
Captain Marvel.
1970s. Yeah, in fact, I liked it. I liked the 1970s TV show. Granted, I was a kid, but I liked it.
Do you know that there are people today that didn't because they did the whole day name change and now he goes by Shazam, that no one knew that every time that people when people come across an old comic they don't know that he used to go by Captain Marvel now.
I mean, he is Captain Marvel. They had Mary Marvel and Kid Marvel, and
Marvel
uh,
Junior.
as a minor aside here is that I don't actually think that the lawsuit there actually had proper legal merit. Like, yes, the lawyers thought otherwise, but the lawyers to think otherwise. Because, like me personally, I would adjudicated it that both of them have equal right to that. Because, like, yes, okay, one of them was published first, but other than having the name Captain Marvel, they literally have nothing in common with each other. Nothing.
yeah, they're not
It's
characters you're going
all
to
about the
confuse.
name. That's all they cared about.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But like that's the thing though. Like with Cinderella's, like, can you do a live action movie based on Cinderella? Yes, most people wouldn't want to because of the fact that so many people in the public associate that with something Disney did decades ago. But there is no legal thing that Disney could do to prevent you from doing it. However, people are afraid of getting sued anyways because well, let's face it, most lawyers are lawful evil.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, instead of the actual like actual remix of movies, you just had parody movies. Like growing up with two younger sisters, Hilary Duff's Cinderella story movie was like very
Hmm,
popular in the early 2000s. It was basically like a high school modern day version of Cinderella.
didn't
Yeah,
isn't
but now
Hilary Duff one of the people who worked for Disney Channel for like their
yeah,
She was one of the very few that did not go psycho from being part of the Disney crowd.
okay.
exactly. But now you got a modern day Cinderella story where the fairy godmother is played by a drag queen.
Yeah. The
That was stupid.
I will stand by this. The only remake that Disney has gotten right was Beauty and the Beast because I watched it and it was literally almost a word for word remake of the cartoon with a few minor changes and extra stuff here and there.
But
Hmm.
then it also makes you point the fact that I was like, why would I bother watching this when it's just a shot for shot of something that is significantly better?
That's
Because it's
actually one
for
of
a
those
modern
things.
audience. No, because how many people do you know today are going to try to go back and hunting down the original classics?
That's actually one of those things I've seen people do though. Is just like okay, here's the old version. We're going to separate the audio track from the video track and just like replace the video track with something that looks newer. And okay, it's still the same movie. Whatever. The amount of time and effort it takes to do that is the reason why people don't do it often. It's like the only ones I've seen were like fan projects where someone was testing their 3D motion capture technology for whatever they felt like doing, and they're like, "Hey, I recreated this scene from this movie," and whatever. Hollywood
Yeah.
wouldn't do it because Hollywood doesn't see it as a marketable product. Probably for good reason in this case, honestly, but still. Hollywood is too big about selling things, and that's the reason why Disney, hey, Marvel and DC got into that tizzy fit. Is that they felt that their marketing efforts would be negatively impacted by someone else having something that's similar, and it's just anti-competitive bullshit.
Yeah, and I think now that we brought up Hollywood, I think this ties into now the next half of the show and kind of going into
Oh
the
wait, 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 wait,
title.
wait. We had one other thing first. The diamond implosion. We were going to talk about that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Thank you for reminding me. So
Okay, because like as several people know, Diamond was the company that did the distribution for Marvel Comics, DC Comics to all of the comic book stores. Somehow managed to get themselves to be a legally protected monopoly on that. Don't ask me how that happened. I'm not even going to try to explain that. But also, is that as a distributor, they distributed quite a lot of other books and things, including certain TRPGs. And one of the things I saw a video on earlier this week was Stephen Glicker talking about how one of, uh, well, okay, no, the physical production that he had that was being distributed by Diamond, due to the way that Diamond had their contracts set up, Diamond's whether or not who is actually considered to be the owner of the product that's sitting in Diamond's warehouse is legally questionable, and Diamond is trying to use this as a way to liquidate the stuff as part of their bankruptcy consolidation efforts, so that they're basically like taking the products that were being distributed by them and then using them as collateral. Well, that's been ongoing for months, if not a year. It might be over a year now. Whatever is that. So Stephen Glicker said that he still hasn't gotten back his books from Diamond, and that one of the few methods available was basically to just like buy them from Diamond, which admittedly would be at like 3% of their market value, but and then he would have to like resell them himself. But this would also mean that he would also have to physically go to whichever warehouse is storing them and pick them up in person.
wasn't
Which,
Diamond also like holding like a bunch of TTRPG books that a lot of companies basically like lost money on because they couldn't get them or because they have to be sold at like a lower value?
well, Stephen Glicker was one of the people who was doing that. He runs a YouTube channel about playing TTRPGs, and
Yeah, because that was a well, freaking Green Ronin was like one of the main companies that was like like they literally like they started a like GoFundMe or something so they could try to get a lawyer funds to try to get their books back or something like that, if I
yeah,
recall.
something like that. Because like Diamond is bankrupt. They can't get a loan from the bank to pay off anything because the bank is like, no, you are destitute. We don't want you anymore. Oh, by the way, you owe us money. And it's like that's Diamond's situation. It's like they can't get anyone to give them money, so they're just like scrounging around. It's like, what do we have that we could possibly use to offset some of our massive debts? And they're just like taking all of the stuff that they were holding on to for consignment sales and trying to use it as collateral for their debt.
It's really dodgy. It is really dodgy
It's one
because
of those corporate bullshit things where it's that in most people wouldn't have thought that was a fair way to set up the contract, but that's the way that they had as their standard contract.
This is why I am
and you
of the
didn't have
opinion.
a plan B because they were it.
Yeah, this is why companies should be selling these books by their own means and not relying on like third party people to try to sell their products for them.
I think a large part
Yeah,
of Diamond's implosion was actually the rise of digital comic books. Because, like, if people could actually buy a legit digital comic book, then why would they pay Diamond's price?
I think my problem is like I never really got big into comic books because like I mean we had TV shows. So why would I waste money on a comic book when they were doing shows based around said comics at the time?
Well, see,
it's a very good point.
one thing I quickly realized is that the televised versions of comic books are meant to be essentially a greatest hits compilation where you take, say, a 12-year comic book run and condense it down to 12 episodes because that's all you have the production budget to produce, which means that you leave out 90% of the actual story.
Oh, Huh.
So if you want the other 90%, you have to actually read the comic books.
So I guess just a fun little thing I came across. Someone there apparently there is a there's an expanded edition of Four Against Darkness that's been released. But now people are trying to figure out, like, is the cover AI or not? Is like the conversation.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to see if I can find that and share it with you, because this is something that came up on Pinterest
I know
of all
I know
places.
Larian got a lot of grief because apparently they said they were using AI references to create their work for the Divinity game, if I recall correctly.
Well, see, because
Yeah,
like
I remember
that's
hearing
the
about
thing
that.
is that what a lot of what people are talking about with AI is stuff that in previous years wouldn't have been called AI. It's like it became a buzzword in modern times. It's like split between people wanting to treat it as automatically good and people wanting to treat it as automatically bad. And like the people just like different groups of people have different reasons for treating it as good or bad, and it goes like sideways really super hard.
It's like
Where was that?
I know with the Sora AI program that's out there now, I see a lot of artists, they'll like create artwork and then they'll create like shorts with the artwork they've made. And now these artists are getting flack for it like crazy. It's just like they did it themselves. They want it's like how like most people that can draw doesn't mean they know how to animate. It's two different things.
Exactly.
And like and
You
I've
can't
been
just reason with
blatantly
those people.
clear since this all. I've been blatantly clear since I started, and they even gets me flack from some of my artist buddies. But they even are like they're not like completely mad at me over it. It's like I am all for people using AI as the tool that is meant to be used. Now I won't like condone like using AI to like write an entire book, which has been another phenomenon that's been coming up. But I am all for AI art, AI videos. I'm all for people doing that because there are
Well,
just
what
some artists out here that don't deserve a paycheck.
Well, that's the other thing that people have mentioned is that the whole like bespoke, carefully crafted, what have you, is always going to be better than AI because of the sheer difficulty required to actually get AI to draw something coherent. It's like getting AI to draw a picture of Wolverine. Okay, now get AI to that specific costume of Wolverine in the 12 specific poses. Good luck with that. And that's a huge problem with actually making AI art. I've been following a guy on YouTube by the name of Don P. Bongwater, who does AI videos. And one of the things that he's said is that for some scenes, he will literally have to get the AI to do it 12 times to get something that even looks approximately the same as the thing he wants. And that when he makes his videos, you will see from scene to scene characters changing in size and shape because of the fact that that's the best he can get the AI to do. It's like it doesn't look consistent. It doesn't look uniform. It's only semi-coherent because that's the absolute closest he can get the AI to do. And like actually making like a proper series like Young Justice and having an AI do it, I don't think that's going to work. At least if it does, it's going to be something so low quality it's not worth watching.
Yeah,
I
but we're
mean, I
eventually
mean,
yeah, we're eventually going to get to the point where AI is just going to get so advanced and everything, and you're going to have like all the artists like really come out and act like the rednecks from South Park. They took our jobs.
Well, see
I
that's
don't actually think that'll ever happen. I really don't.
because like
No, they're gonna act like that because no matter what, there's always going to be a need for it. But the way that the way they keep on acting about it, they just keep on going on about how AI is going to take away our jobs, and I'm just like, no, it's not.
feast your eyes on
You're
this one.
just retarded.
hold on.
I posted it in Discord chat.
Oh, good lord.
Let's see.
Yeah, hold on. I'm not gonna try to worry about bringing it up. I'm just looking at it, but Jesus Christ, that's nightmare fuel.
Here's the thing,
Oh my
that
god.
wasn't AI art. So I one of the comments about that one on uh the Pinterest thing is that someone thought it was AI art because he didn't recognize any of the characters in the scene other than Wolverine. For which I called him a okay, I didn't actually say the word tourist, but I basically called him a tourist because of the fact that, like, these are the marauders. These are Sinister's henchmen that he would send to kidnap people so that he could steal their DNA to use in his unethical experiments. This this is his henchmen fighting Wolverine. If you don't know who the marauders are, then I don't really think I can call you an X-Men fan. And yeah, he you looked at this, he's like, I don't recognize any of these people.
Well, my knowledge of my majority of knowledge of X Men came from the cartoon show growing up. I never really did read like all the comics.
Okay,
It's the
this
The
same.
group
only
of
It's the same for
Sinister
me.
henchmen didn't show up in that.
Yeah,
Okay,
and the
not
only reason I
all
know
of
about
them.
Sinister is because of the Deadpool video game.
Okay, so if you look on the far left, you'll see Vertigo, who shows up in the X-Men the animated series as one of the Savage Land mutates because in the comics there is
Okay, yeah.
two different characters who look exactly the same and have exactly the same powers, one of which is on Sinister's Marauders and one of which lives in the Savage Land as one of the Savage Land mutates. The one in the Marauders is an supervillain who kills people, and the one in the Savage Land is actually a nice person. The best guess anyone has about how this is possible is that Sinister made a clone of the Savage Land mutate, and the clone just has whatever mind Sinister wants her to have.
Gotcha.
On the far right, that one actually also showed up in a brief blink and you'll miss it cameo in the Black Mesa. Wait, not Black Mesa, Skull Mesa episode in the animated series as one of the people standing in the crowd watching when Solar was ranting at Cyclops. But yeah, it's like most of them didn't show up in the cartoon.
Yeah.
Because like in the cartoon, Sinister's group was the Nasty Boys, which was also a group of characters he had in the comic books, not instead of the Marauders. But he had like several different groups of henchmen in the comic books.
Yeah. So, anyways, since we're on about Hollywood and stuff, there's quite a few big topics we're going to be discussing now, going into the political sphere. As
Okay.
because I've been because apparently the I think the TPUSA event is now going on. The first year they're doing it without Charlie Kirk. May he rest in peace.
Mhm.
And there's this the clip that I was looking around next morning, and there's this clip going around now of basically Tucker Carlson standing up for Islam. Basically, is there? That's the only way I can really describe it. Is because I
Oh
guess
boy.
ever since with everything going on, I guess there's been stuff. There's been like protests against like the Muslims in America or something like that. I have not heard anything about it. I keep seeing the stuff in Scotland where there's bagpipe players playing over the call of prayer over in Scotland, which I think is kind of funny. But
I've been seeing something like that.
yeah, because and I think this is all coming around because of what happened in Australia with the mass shooting that occurred there. And hence
Mhm.
why the title of the thing is I want a bulletproof vest for Christmas. Because and Australia has because there's this thing that they have the strictest gun laws, but apparently they say they haven't had a mass shooting in like 30 years. I don't know how exactly true that is or not. I'm sure they may not have just because they haven't had a mass shooting. That doesn't mean there haven't been other crimes that have been committed since that
My
time.
understanding of the issue in Australia with lack of mass shootings is mostly that they did not until relatively recently have people in the country who wanted to do mass shootings. It's like they somehow managed to avoid mass shootings by just not having anyone in the country who wanted to do them. They didn't have any safety precautions in place to actually prevent them.
Yeah, and this was something that it got brought up at the worst time because one of the players in our Wrestling Roller Group is Australian, and before the game even started, the discussion got a little heated about what was going on, without us meaning for it to get heated because the idea was no matter what kind of person you are, there is a majority of people that follow Islam that do believe what it teaches in there, and agree with Sharia law and all that. We see how the Middle East has turned out. And my thing is, I don't want America or any other nation in the world that doesn't choose to follow along with that to become like that. And we see as the and what we've seen is the majority of them that do immigrate to these other nations are trying to force that upon the other people that have lived there for centuries and decades.
Okay, so here's a thing that's best background information about me. You know how I've mentioned that I'm retired military, right?
I
I've
think you may have
lived,
mentioned it, but I don't remember.
I've, as part of my military duties, I spent a considerable amount of time, and by considerable amount of time, I mean several weeks each, in, or months, honestly, in 3 different Muslim countries. And all of them were dystopian hellholes. Afghanistan, Djibouti, and yes, Kuwait too. Kuwait is also a dystopian hellhole. Kuwait is a dystopian hellhole where the upper class have so much money they don't give a shit and are willing to do stupid stuff like, oh, I wrecked my car and ran into a road sign. What's that? And then just leave it there wrecked on the side of the road. And instead of taking it to a repair shop to get fixed. No, they'll just leave it on the side of the road and buy a new car because they don't give a shit. So when you drive down the highways in Kuwait, you will see wrecked vehicles littering the side of the road. Yeah, it's a dystopian hellhole where they have rich people as the people making it that way. It's just ugh.
Yeah, and then their own governments are basically kind of terrorist organizations themselves, and they just keep voting for them in time after time after time, regardless of them trying to be like, "Oh, please help us." The government that wants to destroy us. And then it's interesting because I had to think about this a little bit. So there is the term you have good Christians and bad Christians. The good Christians are the ones that they follow the Bible, they go to church on Sunday, and they keep the God's word. The bad Christians are typically the ones that are they just go to church, they believe, and that's basically about it. Like I've been called, like technically by the Bro SR standards recently, I'm apparently a bad Christian. So that's a whole other topic.
Anyone who is not a Roman Catholic is a bad Christian to them. And the thing is, what's so hilarious is most of them are very bad Roman Catholics.
Yeah, there was there was this thing. So if you don't know what the Bro SR is, Roger, it's short for there's these group of guys that they believe in 1-to-1 time. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons is the only game people should play. Rules is written. They are very much like old school gamers, and they believe in like all that kind of stuff. But they
Except
they
for
will
Jethro interpretations.
yeah, and they clown and they try to their attempt is to clown on everyone that doesn't play or believe the way they do. Though there are a small handful of guys that do like play Bro SR style that that I have talked to, and they are respectful to me. And it's the only reason that I will like interact with them. But the majority of them are just complete shitheads. And for some
Gotcha.
reason, there was, and this happened because there's been 4 different times now. A couple of times with me, and then another, so again, it happened under Lord Manius when Lord Manius made a post that took a clip from his interview with Maxiel from Legion of Myth, where they tried to come, where they started coming after people now for their faith instead of how they play the game, and that really just rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
Like it's okay if you don't like my play style, but to come after me personally like that, or anyone else personally like that, you're just asking to get gut punched.
See,
Oh yeah.
one of the things that I've mentioned on this show in the past is the whole like limited religious freedom thing. It's like if your religion says that you need to sacrifice people to your dark god and then eat their flesh as part of your communion ritual, no, your religious freedom will not be allowed. It's like, are you allowed to worship that dark god? Yes. Are you allowed to kill people and then eat them as part of your worship? No.
Yeah, and so going back to what I was talking about.
This is where the whole post World War II notion of what First Amendment religious liberty meant, which was basically invented by Jews on the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
This is where it falls apart because that's never what it meant. It was really peculiarly about restrictions on the federal government, and those restrictions were always in light of a broader version of the Christian religion. Basically, the Constitution was not meant to be churchless so much as it was meant to be broad church.
Yeah.
Swifty and satire would say that the U.S. was built on the low heels.
Yeah.
So there would be no Church of the United States, right? There would be no religious test for holding office.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that the Constitution isn't opinionated.
But kind of going back to what I was talking about, because I got off there for a little bit. But so it's funny because when you in Islam, it switches the meaning of a good Muslim and a bad Muslim. A good Muslim is the one that screams death to America, thinks those that don't believe in them should be killed, thinks that wherever they go, they should have that land by some decree of some sort, and where they also think that it's okay to throw gay people off of rooftops, send off children to be married to older men, etc., etc. The bad Muslims are the ones that they may follow some tenets of that, but they will actively also denounce like the stuff that the radicals are doing, which the radicals are what is considered the quote unquote good Muslims.
See, okay, the three places that I mentioned earlier, Kuwait. Kuwait is filled with indolent people who have more money than they know what to do with and just use their money for whatever happens to suit their fancies today. They don't really get onto the whole thing where they want to enforce the will of Allah on the world, because that would mean getting off their couch and doing something other than watching TV. So they're not going to do that. However, they might fund other people who do. Then you have the people in Djibouti who do neither of those things because the fact that they're too poor to be able to afford guns. So they are hosting a U.S. military base. Okay, not U.S. specifically. It's like a combined NATO thing, I think, that exists solely as an anti-piracy thing to shoot out of the people who live in Somalia and Yemen, because of the fact that the people of Djibouti are too poor to be able to afford coats and shoes. So they are willing to accept a pittance in a stipend to enrich their economy in exchange for allowing the U.S. military to shoot holes in the Muslims who live in the neighboring countries. And then you have the people of Afghanistan who they have a reasonable amount of money that they get from being drug dealing warlords, and they want to continue to be drug dealing warlords. And you see where this is going.
Drug dealing warlords that sexually abuse young boys.
They don't really have a whole lot of interest in things outside Afghanistan because of the fact that they've been fighting for control of Afghanistan for decades. And that fighting for control is fighting other Muslims for a large part, because, some of the Muslims don't want to be drug dealing warlords, and the drug dealing warlords want to force them to do it anyways.
Yeah. My entire center of what the faith I believe in depends on, am I allowed to eat bacon? If I can't eat bacon, I will not follow your faith. I'm sorry.
That is completely fair and valid. As like
it drives me nuts that there are Christians that try to use the Bible to be like, you can't eat ham or pork or whatever, and I'm just like, then why did God make it so fucking good?
Well, it's actually one of those things where it's like there's several different things in the Bible talking about it, and like the actual thing in the Bible about it is that prohibits it. Actually, when you look at it from a certain perspective, only prohibits it under certain circumstances, so it doesn't really matter anyways. So whatever.
Yeah, and so it's just interesting because it's also at one point there was a weird time in the timeline where Christians and Muslims actually were able to work together when gender ideology was at a peak with its corruption at one point. So I saw as news articles as both Muslim mosques and Christian churches actually banded together to try to fight to remove gender ideology from the school system. And then once that ended, it went back to fighting like cats and dogs again.
Yeah, yeah, because of the fact that that is the way politics should be. It shouldn't be a red versus blue thing. It should be you eh, uh, pushing for what you personally believe in, not whatever the political bigwigs tell you to support.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, like I'm all for like, hey, the idea was you come to again, it was you come to this country, share your values with us, and then become an American. It was not to come here and then just continue living your life like you still owe allegiance to the country you left from.
Mhm. Like one of the most memorable things that anyone ever said to me on Twitter was some guy saying like, "Huh, okay, I'm a Satanist, and I find myself agreeing with a guy who's obviously a Christian. Oh, this is a dark timeline."
Yeah. I mean, literally, when after the Kirk assassination, a lot of people that were formerly atheists or liberals found themselves questioning about their own personal beliefs and values and ended up converting to Christianity or like full on conservatives
Mhm.
because it was a moment because it should not because it ended up taking a someone dying for a lot for like a good majority of the country to wake up to what was going on.
Well, see, it's one of those things where it's like people. Oh, you know what? That reminds me of something that I was been thinking about suggesting as a topic that I didn't mention earlier. It's like someone mentioned
Is someone playing music in the background?
I
uh,
wonder if
That's
a,
that
a,
me.
a thing with the education system in the U.S. where changing the way you educate children actually changes how they approach the concept of fact. Where it's like, and it's something that has been going on for decades at this point, where it's just like a slow, steady erosion of the concept of reality, where you're teaching children's like to value their own feelings. Why? It's like you're teaching children to be like, I feel like this, and therefore that's my personal truth. Instead of, it's like, what's the actual, uh, what actually happened? Not what do you feel, but what happened. And you actually have people who have been taught to value their personal feelings over objective reality. And it's gotten to the point where it's affecting the way that um politics works, is because of the fact that people are like, I feel that Charlie Kirk was a terrible person, and you ask them why, and they don't have a reason for it. It's all based on like, someone said something mean about him, and therefore I'm going to agree with the person who said something mean about him, even though that's literally the only thing I know about him, because that's um how they feel, and the only thing they value is their own feelings. They don't even give a shit about anyone else's feelings, just their own.
yeah.
Yeah, and on top of that, because that wasn't the only thing that happened, we also had a Brown shooting. And when I say Brown shooting, I'm not referring to the color of the person, but Brown. But there was a school named Brown University where someone
Right.
actually went in and like killed. I forget how many people that was killed, but for some reason though, it's a Uvalde all over again. Basically, is the feel of it is they were not really having leads. They got there like super late. It feels like
Also,
it's just a college version of Uvalde.
someone on the university staff apparently either shut off all of the security cameras in the entire building before the shooter came in, or deleted the footage.
Yeah, it's one of those two because there's no way in hell that you cannot tell us with like a straight look on your face that
Rumor has it that they had all of 900 security cameras on the premises.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's no question about it. They understood that there was. You're seeing the agenda in action. All right,
yeah.
the woman was set up to be murdered. Um, the guy who did the deed literally drove up from Florida to do it, and of course, he was a quote unquote legal resident. He was administered under the diversity. He was admitted under the diversity law.
In other words, he wasn't born in the U.S. He's someone who was imported for reasons.
And he's not on a citizenship track per se. I mean, literally, there's a program we have where we admit people because we don't think we have enough brown people from their country present in the U.S. That's basically it. It's called the diversity lottery. Trump tried to end it back in his first admin and, of course, got fought. This time, he's just flat out cut. Christy Nolan's just saying, we're just not doing it.
It's one of those things. Obama, when he was in office, did a whole bunch of things that were basically just over the table kickbacks and blatant government corruption that were dressed up in pretty language to make them sound like good things. And that was enough that we had a large number of people who decided to play along with it.
Yeah, so I did see your message, OSR Dwarf, that you had to go soon. So the last thing I wanted to talk about, since we did bring up Trump, was because it ties into the death of Rob Reiner and his wife, possibly by their son. It has not been confirmed or denied yet if he actually has done it or not. But it does bring up that the post that he made about the death of Rob Reiner, where he kind of talked a little shit about him, and then, well, like a lot of people were like, he shouldn't have done this. But I started thinking about this for a little bit because when people talked about him saying this about Rob Reiner, everyone also brought up how he reacted about the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Now, Ruth Bader Ginsburg died in 2020. This was before Trump had the assassination attempt on his life, before Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and before we had all these other violent attempts against other conservative political figures. It's like, I honestly can't blame Trump for saying the things he said about Rob Reiner when the left is out here saying the exact same shit about what they want to do to us.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's not just that. Reiner himself never talked about the murder of Charlie Kirk on X. After the fact, we're hearing about how he said, oh, that's so terrible, but it's crocodile tears. He didn't care what happened to Charlie. He never stopped saying the things that got people like Charlie killed. He certainly never had any problem with the assassination attempt on Trump. Why should we shed crocodile tears ourselves? Why should we be phony on behalf of people who want us dead or in prison? Fuck those guys. Pardon my language, but fuck them.
My thoughts on the Rob Reiner thing with Trump is like, having someone die, I'm not going to glaze them simply because they're dead. Trump simply spoke what he felt about the man. And if what you feel about the man is that he is, let's just say he's scum who's going to burn in hell. If that's what you feel about the man, then so be it. Say your piece and then move on. And having people trying to tell him that he's not allowed to say that he thinks the guy was scum, that's no.
I mean, you might not like it, but the question I would then raise is, well, what would you normally say about someone who wants you dead or in prison and actively push the idea? In fact, beyond that, we know Rob Reiner was in some way involved with Clapper.
He was also big on the Russia collusion things. It's like,
the Russia collusion thing. He actually helped push that.
Time out for 1 second, because I just heard something I am not familiar with. What is Clapper?
James Clapper.
Yeah, person name.
Former DNI.
Still not familiar. Hold on.
I've heard his name before, but I don't remember exactly.
So you're asking who is James Clapper? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is the former DNI. He was director of national intelligence from 2010 to 2017.
Okay.
He was the guy who was revealed to have lied to Congress about domestic surveillance when Snowden leaked all that stuff. So you're talking about a pretty bad guy and someone who worked with other officials in the intelligence community to cook up the Russia hoax as a black hat operation against Donald Trump and his followers.
This is
So it
the
was a
part.
rear guard action by the Obama intelligence apparatus,
Was this
and
guy?
careerists aligned with that group.
Was this guy
He's a
still?
bad guy. He's a
Was
very
this guy
bad guy.
still in office when the January 6th thing went down?
No, he was out by 2017. He was replaced by General Flynn, who then was the victim of a black hat op himself designed to get him out of the way, which was led, oddly enough, by Mike Pence, who is an utter piece of shit. I'm probably getting you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Hunter. I'm probably getting you demonetized right now. I have few good things to say about these evil people.
It's yeah,
other
like
than I hope they
I'm
wake up
actually
one
making a
morning with an
dime from
axe
any
in
of
their
this.
foreheads.
But
Oh, dear
like
me.
Rob Reiner, I know he's known for like a lot of movies, Princess Bride being one of them, which I also have not seen, which is on my list. Princess
I mean, by
Bride.
all means, watch the movie, but I mean, I'm not a simp for the likes of Meathead over,
Well,
Yeah.
it's
over
one of
the Princess Bride.
it's one of those things where it's like, yes, I can appreciate that someone made a movie that I think was good. Does this mean that I am going to agree with their political opinions? No. It's the same logic. It's like, yes, I can agree with Muslims on the idea that gay ideology is bad. Does that mean I'm going to agree with them on literally anything else?
I do not agree with them that goats are sex objects.
It's like, what's your
I
name?
strongly disagree with
Grant.
them on that.
Anyways, but like, yeah, that's a great example of it. It's like, if I can agree with someone on a certain movie being good, that doesn't mean I'm going to agree with them on, well, anything else. So like, why are this is one of those things that several Hollywood celebrities have actually made public statements about recently, is that they realized that getting promotional deals from the DNC to try to push Kamala was actually a negative impact on their careers, because the general public came to see them as being, less.
Jack Black was smart enough to get out of the way on that one when he realized where it was going. So, of course, Mark
Yeah.
Hamill drops right in, because Mark Hamill is an idiot.
And then I had a thought and I just lost it. Dang it.
I forget which actress it was, but there was like one actress who was like, I could tell you what my political opinion is, but I know that 90% of the people who watch my movies don't watch my movies because they want to hear my political opinion.
Like Kanye West still makes great music. I don't always agree with him on everything he says, although given how he's treated, I'm more than tempted to just blare Heil Hitler out on my radio half the time.
I mean, like,
well, to be fair, and I did kind of base, that one wretched inspiration on the rappers, though it was not Kanye. It was based on P. Diddy. I'm talking about GCG.
And then there was those like gangster rappers that did that Fuck Donald Trump song back when he was first running for office. That was just completely retarded.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's like, go back to like how things used to be. Like, one of still the best example was when somebody went up to like Denzel Washington and just straight up asked him, is like, who was he a fan of, like, politically wise? And he's like, none of your damn business. Granted, like, is he more than likely over onto the left and everything? Yeah, more than likely that is the case. But that's still his business. He doesn't go out. He, at least back then, didn't shout it out and everything like, oh, if you don't think what I believe, you're a terrible person, like how a bunch of Hollywood actors are nowadays.
Morgan Freeman said it best as well, and whenever he did, was if we would quit talking about racism so much, there wouldn't be racism.
Yeah, like people ranting about how racism is bad are perpetuating racism as a product, because of the fact that it is what they need to sell in order to have a career. If racism went away, these people would be broke and homeless. Therefore, they have to perpetuate it in order to save their jobs.
Yeah, but I'll kind of close it up because I know Ozar Dwarf has to be going really quick. Sorry if we kept you a little later, man. I didn't mean to go too long. So
I'm just hungry.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I'm going to eat lunch after this, but again, I mentioned before, Ricky Gervais said it best when on the Globe Awards. It's like, no one cares about your political opinions. Come up to the stage, take your award, thank your God, and fuck off.
Mhm.
There you
Exactly.
go.
So, OSR Dwarf, where can everyone find you at?
Oh, you can find me on the Red Room Discord server or on X as OSR Dwarf 2. And I'll be playing in and running various games, and some of them might even be posted online. No promise that they'll be interesting to anyone but the players.
Yep. And speaking of Red Room, because you just made me remember, they're having a year-end sale currently as they have to shut down their website because being in Portugal and paying taxes for a website is getting costly for them. So they're moving over to using itch.io and Lulu for all their digital and physical sales. But they're still, for up until the end of the year, they're still selling stuff on their site at, what is it, like 50% off currently on their website?
I believe that's
Yeah, I think so. I
correct.
think that's what it was. Yeah, because like
So it's
I bought their Savage Swords thing, and I think that's how much I paid for it. Yeah.
Yep. So if you just type in the Red Room backwards, so it's like more the Ret, however you pronounce it, feels like I'm going to summon Cthulhu just by saying that. It's moretheret.com. Again, it's just the Red Room spelled backwards. You can download the stuff from their site. I will tell you know if you are from the US, you do have to use PayPal because that's the only way I'm ever able to buy stuff from their website. So if you have PayPal, I suggest you use that because for some reason it will never take my card. But
Mm.
yeah, go get the Rich RPG stuff, get the Red RPG stuff, get Darker, get Savage Swords. Hell, get men, and be just crazy satirical barbarian dudes.
There you go.
Yep. Mar Hockman, where can everyone find you at?
Let's see here. YouTube, Twitch. I post links to my YouTube and Twitch on X. But that's I don't really post things on X usually. But YouTube, Twitch, X. Oh yeah, that's right. I technically have the ability to use Blue Sky now because they figured out how to unban themselves in my region. That was dumb. All I ever did with Blue Sky is just like post links on it though. Um and oh yeah, uh Kick. I sometimes stream things on Kick, but not often enough. I really should do that more often.
Yeah, I actually ended up creating a spam Blue Sky account now, only because I have to keep tabs on a certain stalker I've been having issues with. So that's the only reason I have it. So I'm keeping tabs on. Well, he, her, it, whatever the fuck they want to go by. I don't care. Yeah, but I post about that on my X being a post about that because they acted messaging my personal Instagram account I have just to interact with family and stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, no, this draws a line.
But you could, instead of using a pronoun, just refer to them as Blue Sky users.
Yeah, the Blue Sky users, that's right. So, but anyways, Roger, where can everyone find you at?
Well, you can find me over on Country Time Pop, where you can find your Southern style news and reviews of all things pop culture. But I do have to preface this. Hadn't made a announcement on like X or anything, but at the beginning of the year, uh, I will be starting up a new job, so that is actually going to change up how things will proceed going forward. Once I know more about it, I'll be sure to like keep everybody updated, and that also includes over on Rustic Rollers for the games that we play usually at night because this job will be a night shift.
Yep. And speaking of Rustic Rollers, make sure you tune in to Rustic Rollers on tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Time on YouTube and Rumble as I run our Christmas one shot using Fate Accelerated Dispatch All the Way, where we play where I run a game with a couple superheroes that are just trying to make sure the mall doesn't devolve into chaos for the new Phenomenon Man toy that is being sold. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us again for another Ultracast episode. I think it's safe to say we will not be here next week because I want everyone to be able to spend Christmas time with their families and friends. I know I will be out of town personally with families and friends as well, so that's another reason why we're not going to be doing a show next week. But I'm trying to remember. Is there another Saturday after next week, or does it go right into the new year after
Next
next
Saturday
week?
is the 27th. So no.
All right, so
Yes.
so I'll just leave it. Oh yeah, so that means the next that's actually kind of perfect because I was thinking about like should we wait until the new year to start our game? So that also depends on if Duskwell gets his computer back or not. So we'll
I mean,
see if
There you
on
go.
January 23rd, on January the 3rd of 2026, if Duskwell will be able to actually be able to join us. So we'll see about that.
Yep.
Right. Thank you again, everyone, for
Mhm.
joining us. You have a wonderful weekend. Go play a game, roll some dice, eat some good food. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
mhm.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.